Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 716. Hopefully, you guys are doing well this evening. I've got a fun guest lined up for this evening, a fellow Michigan native,
What
Frank,
up? What up?
Detroit Crud. How you doing, my friend? You want to tell us how you're doing and where they can find you?
Hey Eagle, thanks for having me. My cannabis page is on Instagram, Detroit underscore crud underscore 313. My name's on there. You can find my personal page, but that's where I do most of my posting about products, events, weed related things.
Well, that's the important page, I would think, anyways. Keep them in the
Definitely.
know. So I've had the firsthand chance to try your some of your lemonade, which is pretty damn awesome, I gotta say. So
Hell yeah. I like the positive feedback. Keeps me going.
right on. Definitely I think a crowd favorite. That's the one I see most people walking around with anyway, is your lemonade cups.
Yeah, it was really popular this summer. 100 milligram hash rosin lemonade. Um, I kind of moved in the last few months into hash rosin edibles as opposed to straight THC edibles, and honestly, I'm happy about it. The full spectrum, you don't need 1,000 milligrams to get the job done. I'm finding like 100 milligrams, 150. I'm going to be doing infused donuts for this holiday season, 150 milligrams, and do people love it? I think they're plenty strong, honestly.
Right on. I like the idea. I like the idea. Well, let's back up a little bit here, my friend. And we'll most certainly talk about the great products you have at hand. But we got to find out where it all started. So, when
Right. It's
did
been a journey.
cannabis kind of enter your life? When was the first time you either saw or used cannabis?
I'd say it'd have to be back in high school. I got into a bigger school, and there was different groups like jocks and some stoners, and I was kind of hanging out with everybody, and I met the stoners, and I just it opened up a whole new world. Some people like drinking and stuff like that. I really took to smoking, and I honestly would daydream in high school, wishing that I could have like a house with pot in it, not even knowing like growing was a thing. I just thought having a house with cannabis in it is something I want to do. And really, I was just a smoker back then, hanging out with my buddies, rolling up joints, seeing how big of a blunt we could roll. Um, lots of laughs, lots of funny stuff. Kids getting stoned.
So, what was it? Would you say that you liked about it the first time? No, I before that, I want to ask: did you get high the first time?
I definitely did. I've heard that story of people smoking even the first few times and nothing really happening. Um, I was in this position where they were passing around the blunt and a joint and a bowl, and I guess I had smoked so much it was bound to happen. I remember going to Leo, Coney Island, and the whole waitress situation ordering food was just too crazy for me.
So, what did it like steamroll after that first time? Was it every day, every weekend? How did it
It
progress?
was an every weekend thing to begin with, and because I was a beginner, I couldn't really handle it, to be honest with you. And as I got older, I was able to smoke a little bit more and grow up with it. And that dream of wanting to have like a cannabis house kind of was maybe going to be a reality. Like I learned about growing and being able to smoke cannabis that you grew yourself was, really sweet to me. But yeah, honestly, I kind of also use cannabis as a crutch, I'd say. My mom passed away when I was young, so being able to get some stress relief and chill out and maybe forget about some things, that I think that benefited me too.
What kind of cannabis do you have for to consume with us tonight?
Honestly, I got some weed from my neighbor who I wasn't so sure because he's another grower, and some growers have different qualities. I'm pretty sure this has like a mimosa, like tangy, some terps to it. I'm gonna have to tap in and ask him, but I've got this huge leaf I'm saving after we get into things a little bit. What are you smoking on?
I believe this is some platinum cake that my friend Mr. Smiley's Gardens grew out. Super delicious. Super delicious.
Nice. I love running into some flavorful weed.
So the market's so thick right now, and I love it with the amount of strains to try. I'm always like a kid in the candy store. Ooh, what's that? You know what I mean? I love trying new cannabis.
Yeah, I've been going to a lot of events and there's so much weed. It's a little overwhelming, to be honest with you.
So I guess it was, has there been a point to where I mean, it's a kind of a funny subject, it being recreational and medical here in Michigan. I myself kind of stand more on the medical aspect of it and appreciate and kind of that's my advocate side of things. Though I do respect the recreational use, but I guess where do you fall in that?
I I guess originally I was up for it going recreational until, reality hit. And I was like, well, maybe just having it medicinal would have been better. Um, I think it's such a cash crop though that people are going to hop on and do what they do, make it recreational and get their money. But I definitely enjoyed caregivers and the medicinal scene without all these, kind of corporate people taking over. Because I still like to get my cannabis from caregivers and locals. I haven't been to a dispensary, in a long time. But especially when caregivers were able to give product to the dispensary, it's like nowadays you see a lot of flower that's been sitting there for a while.
Yeah, I've kind of said publicly, I think there should be just like beers and a lot of stuff to have. There should be a born on date. You know what I mean? After so long in packaging, that stuff should be like taken back and made into extracts or something else and fresh flower put back on the shelf.
Yeah. If you have flower that's been a year or two old, should that be on the shelf? I don't know.
Not at the prices they're charging. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally don't want something I can take out of the package and it just like crumble.
Crumble. Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah. It's too bad to see a lot of smaller growers consider leaving the game or struggling competing with cannabis that's not even on their level. But some people want to buy $60 ounces and it doesn't need to be great. Okay. Not my style, but
Yeah, definitely. I never thought I'd see it so quickly, the $50 ounces and stuff like that. But I think there'll always be a market for a quality product. You know, people realize quality. And that should, I think, will always dictate um,
Yeah,
a
the
better
craft cannabis
price.
growers. The craft cannabis growers. I've seen some really spectacular weed grown by people. And yeah, it's sad to see on marketplace people selling their equipment and maybe not growing anymore. I kind
You
of
know,
find myself in that position.
uh, so I think I see the same thing, and where I see that happen is you see, hydroponic stores and gardening stores flourish in the beginning phases of quasi legality, mainly with the medical market. But it seems like every time I've seen from state to state, recreational hit the board, it's like people stop pulling cards and they're like, well, why am I don't need to grow now. It's going to be too available. And it is somewhat, like you said, $50 an ounces, but for me, I would just rather produce, even if it goes even further down the line, I would
Mhm.
rather still produce my own quality cannabis versus going out. I don't know. But I think that's where it all goes wrong, though. People just, I'm gonna throw in the towel and just buy it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in a position now. I have this grow house in Detroit, and I had an issue with a partner maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and it's like kind of like a full-time job keeping that house running. And I'm not really sure if I'm gonna be ordering clones. We're doing some mushroom work. We got some mushroom tents growing, some Martha tents. So that's looking up. But yeah, especially with the market and this big issue I had with a partner lately. I haven't bought any clones yet. I'm like struggling to get over like I had a harvest. Well, I've kind of heard about it recently. Croptober's coming up. Croptober's happening. You know, some of the negative things about growing. Some people steal harvests and you get stole from. Shit happens. Well, I had a harvest maybe 4 or 5 months ago at this grow house, and I had a partner that I'd been working together for many years. And unfortunately, when the market crashed, he had left with a harvest, pretty much stole from me. Left me with a fat DT bill. But yeah, that in addition to the market being the way it is, it's like, man, this is kind of tough.
It definitely can be tough right now. I think a lot of people are facing some crossroads as where they exactly the path they're going to take in cannabis right now. I think
Yeah, so it's a lot different from last year.
it was headed down that road anyway, and then I think COVID really, really tightened up the screws for a lot of people. And then the market's somewhat recovering, but still, I think we're coming through going, man, we're still gonna have to narrow down and like choose a lane to stay and run in. And so I can see what you I can see your problem for sure.
Yeah,
And it
so
doesn't help not having, when a partner when things go wrong on that end. I've been there as well, not necessarily in cannabis, but other areas in business in my life. And I've always found that you can avoid it, man. Partners, I mean, it's hard to
yeah,
have a partner.
it's not something I'm looking to start back up with a new partner, and I obviously have some trust issues from it.
Rightly
Um,
so.
yeah, so that's honestly that kind of is what pushed me to go so heavy into the edible drinks and the infused treats. I found myself in a position with no more weed and owing DTE some money, and I had started making these drinks a few years ago when I found out about, emulsifying concentrates into liquids and being able to like use wax in drinks. That kind of blew my mind. You can take this clump of wax and turn it into a beverage. And I had seen Kool-Aid in the past, when the medical market was around, and I started trying it myself. What got me into the drinks was I wasn't happy with the strength of the edibles I was getting. You're having to spend like $40 to get like a $400-500 edible, 400 milligram edible. So I started making them myself, and really just for me and my friends. It wasn't even an idea to sell them or push them. And I definitely remember having some kind of gross recipes. But yeah, the drinks kind of spun from a harvest being stole from me and a little bit of knowledge of, emulsifying concentrates into the beverages.
That's awesome. I think the edible market is pretty crazy. I enjoy some edibles 100%, but the way you can, ingest them these days, hell, when I was out there at Big Farms, I've had, your awesome lemonade. I had some amazing salsa. You know what I mean? The way you can
Oh
enjoy your
yeah.
cannabis these days is pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's some amazing bakers and cooks that have learned how to infuse, their goods. And yeah, big going to Big Cloud and seeing all the different vendors, like I love it. Like I think Cloudoween coming up is going to be huge.
So where did it all start with the infusions? What was the first recipe? What did the first thing you passed this
Oh
to some
man.
friends and was like, try
Oh
this?
man. Um I think I learned about the magic butter machine. Have you heard of that?
Yeah,
And
I have
honestly,
one. Yeah.
yeah, man, dude, you could use it for everything. There's so many uses for it. Um I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What was the first thing you passed? What were some of your first creations?
Okay, so when I was growing and I was having lots of fresh flower, I was making flower rosin. A lot of people are into hash rosin now. I wasn't quite there, but off a fresh harvest, man, you could get some beautiful flower rosin out of some nugs. So I was taking my flower rosin and decarbing it, and that's what I started using originally for the drinks. And I was just doing a basic Kool-Aid packet with a simple syrup and just kind of guesstimating, how much wax I should throw it in there. And then me and my buddies, go kayaking during the summer, having fun, hanging out, you know, messing around with recipes in the magic butter machine. A couple times setting it wrong and, it's spilling and it, blowing up a little bit. Um, but really the full spectrum drinks is kind of where it started. I went into the THC drinks a little bit, and now I'm back into the hash rosin drinks. But being able to, buy some wax and turn it into a drink. I mean, my friends thought it was the craziest thing ever. That the inspiration they gave me, um, really kind of set it off because I thought it was kind of cool, but edible drinks is different. I feel like it affects you differently. It doesn't quite take as long as maybe eating something.
Why do you think that is?
I think something to do with the way you digest it. something the way you digest it. I'm not 100% sure. I do know there's something I do want to get into. It's called nano emulsion. You've heard of that?
Mhm. All right, now what's the benefit though to, taking it, breaking it down to like a nano level?
There's a physical way of doing it. They've got this machine with vibrations and mixtures, and then they've got a powder that I'm still not quite familiar with, but you can add it to drinks and it turns the activation time from like 45 minutes down to like 15 minutes. So it's like, I don't know the science fully behind it, but it's like breaking the molecules down of the THC so that when you drink the drink or you take whatever that's been nano emulsified, that it's like absorbing into like your tongue and your digestive tract. Like you don't even get a chance to digest it. It's like absorbing into like your system. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it.
That's, as long as you're taking the steps, that's all that matters, businesses, knowledge, everything's kind of gained step by step, gain to buy a tool every job, try to push yourself along little by little. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can keep coming up with banger ideas for my vending. Let me tell you about the new products I got coming up.
Please do.
So for Cloudoween, I'm going to be revealing an infused cinnamon sugar donut. So 2 donuts to a pack, 75 milligrams each. I think they're going to be going for $12. But I'm doing a collaboration with a donut maker from Detroit. He owns like a donut villa or something. And I was visiting his shop last week, and this guy can crank out some donuts. I'm telling you what. So I'm going to come up with the infused hash rosin cinnamon sugar, and I'm going to be bringing hundreds of donuts to Cloudoween. Infused.
I'm most certainly am planning on being there, so hopefully I'll get to try
Cool,
some personally.
dude. Yeah, awesome. Secondly, with the infused donuts, I'm gonna be having some infused cider. I was actually at the cider farm earlier today doing some research and development. Have you ever heard of spiced cider?
I have.
Yeah, it's like cider plus fruits and a few other spices, and it's like a richer, thicker cider. I think I'm gonna have hot and cold cider at Cloudoween, both infused.
Nice. I'd be interested in, like, kind of as you mentioned there, how it hit you. You think the beverage hits you quicker and differently. I'm kind of curious to see if there's a comparison between hot and cold, both in, effect, and, if there's any difference like that.
I think it'll be awesome. I'm really trying to do like the apple cider farm vibe, warm donuts, cinnamon sugar, hot apple cider. I think it'll be a good ass time.
I like the way that you kind of tucking and rolling with, you know what I mean, kind of seasonal, special things for seasonal, instead of like just sticking to one in particular thing. This is what we got.
Right.
I dig it.
Yeah, the beginning of this summer, I kind of had this lemonade cotton candy idea, and at the last event there was a few other lemonade people, so you got to keep it moving.
Well, yours was delicious for sure. I had some of the cotton candy as well over that weekend.
Oh,
so
cool.
Good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, that's some work. It takes me it takes me a whole ass day to make some cotton candy sugar. The flavoring, the coloring, the grinding. But I think I've got some unique flavors like grape bubble gum, watermelon. You know, like those are some strange flavors.
I'm almost wonder too again is because like that stuff kind of melts in your mouth, and I wonder if that's a quick absorbing one going through the bottom
Dude,
of the
yeah.
tongue there.
I've gotten a lot of good feedback with the cotton candy, so you might be onto something.
Let's talk. Let's back up a little bit because you did mention growing there. At what point did you kind of take on growing or decide, I'm fucking tired of buying it. I'm gonna give it a go.
Let's
Or
see, when did
it
I
was
start?
that the reason? I guess that's part of the question too. What was the reason?
As soon as I could afford to, and I felt like I was old enough to grow, I was all for it. You know, I'd say in 2018 is when I invested in my main grow house. There was 2 or 3 years before that where I was like messing around in a tent and growing a few plants and honestly not doing so great, being a beginner, you know, learning and failing. And so in 2018, I feel like that's when Detroit Crud is what really started. That's when the grow house was bought. That's when the big, what I would consider a big grow operation started. And really that being like a full-time job is 2018. 2018. So before that, I had experience with soil and just watering by hand with soil. And when I bought this house in 2018, I linked up with a couple guys and we had a decent partnership and we started growing in hydro, which was totally new to me. You know, I'd heard scary things about it. And, you know, I kind of agreed with the other guys. Like, you know, I learned soil decently. I'm up for learning something new. And I think hydro's really cool. I'd like to actually try no-till in the future. I think that's a dynamic way of growing. But hydroponics treated me good for a while. You know, there was a few years where the yields and the harvests and the turnaround times were just beautiful. Being able to veg for a week and then throwing them bad boys, bad girls into flower, you know, it was a beautiful thing.
So as decided to take on the grow house there and scale things up a bit, how did you decide strain selection? What made you choose what, and what were you running at that point?
So a big thing for me is if I'm going to get clones and put 4 or 5 months of energy into growing something, I want to get something reliable from someone. And I haven't been a big growing from seed guy. So a lot of my growing has been having a little kind of inner circle of people and, you know, trading some genetics. When I was beginning growing, I grew from seed a few times and I guess maybe didn't have the skill for it, almost like pheno hunting. But being able to trade clones with, you know, your inner circle, certain times you'll have this strain versus certain times you'll have that strain. So it was more or less clone swapping and trading with the inner circle for genetics.
Is there in particular terpene profiles that you like to work with? You're a gassy guy, you like some fruits. Everybody's got a little bit of something they prefer.
Yeah, I prefer the fruity. There had been some mimosa I'd smoked maybe a few years back that I really enjoyed. But the citrusy, the lemon terps. Yeah, this weed that my neighbor gave me that smells like Tropicana mimosa something.
I like the Tropicana. It's good tasting. I like the orange profile to an extent. You know, and it's it for me more of a daytime weed, not necessarily the profile that I'm looking for all the time. For
What's your favorite?
sure. I like the gassy stuff for sure. My favorite would I want to say right along the pines. I'm still searching for pines, man. It's been a few
Okay.
years now, but if I could get my hands on a good pine cultivar, I would most certainly keep it around for a little bit. I think that's more or less. I think that's got some nostalgic value to it. You know, I can remember, getting some beautiful pine weed. I would say around, freshman, sophomore year, and that shit was amazing. It wasn't just because I think the age, because I think I was a pretty well established smoker at that point. But man, uh, that shit, man, you could smoke that with like 6, 8 people, and all you would laugh until your belly and face hurt. You know what I mean? That's
I'll have to look up some pine strains. I guess I'm not too familiar.
well, well, it ain't just that. I think it's a twofer. Yeah, it multiple things for me as far as the pine goes. It's good to. It opens up my lungs, so it's helping me breathe a little bit there. It's great for like a clear-headed. You know what I mean? Clears my head, slows down a little bit of the anxiety at some point, and you can get some shit done with clear focus and still enjoy a nice body buzz. But if you like double up on that shit, you push it, you can most definitely take yourself into that like laughy, you know what I mean? I'm really gonna have a fun conversation
Yeah.
here. So
Yeah.
I definitely
I've
enjoy
never heard it
this.
described like that, so that's cool.
Yeah, definitely the pines and some gas. But I ain't gonna shy away from the fruit category either. As far as
Yeah,
that
I
goes,
guess
I
it's
like
just
the
something
lemons.
something I prefer. The mango orangey terps, like, yeah. There might be some potential. I'm gonna be ordering some clones in the next 6 months. Got to see how things go. But it'll be exciting, being able to start fresh and pick something maybe to my liking.
Well, that's the beauty thing about cannabis is, it's tailored to us, individually. It's a good product. I'm sure you could take any cultivar you have and still put forth a great edible, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
extract and take it into your product, but it can be individual to you. I'm pretty much on the side of it. Again, staying on the medical side versus the recreational side of things. I believe it's a plant spirit medicine. Basically, you know, you're choosing it. There isn't when you read into the plant spirit medicine, it's more or less kind of a mindful walk through the forest and you just being conscious of your surroundings, and at some point you and an in particular plant or herb will call out to you, and and you kind of make a pact a little bit on
Yeah,
the healing powers
I
there.
I miss working with the plants. I do.
So I think that happens with cannabis with the terpene profiles and stuff like that. As you nose through the jar, you're like, yes, yes, no, 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 no. You know what I mean? And then you hit
Yeah,
that one and you're like, deal. We just made that deal. You know what I mean? So I think it's more of a medical side of things. So I think it's beautiful in the aspects that it's tailored individually.
yeah, yeah. I find myself working with full spectrum concentrates. You're getting more flavor. You're getting more kick. When I was working with strictly like diamonds or distillate, it was still worth it. It was still good, but hash rosin is taking it to the next level. You know, I'd actually like to work with hash in the future. I think that'd be really cool. But bringing some terps out into the drinks, you know, I think that would be dope.
Oh, for sure. Now, I've heard you mention earlier flower rosin versus what's all right, walk me through that because you know I appreciate hash along the lines, but as far as extracting go, I've always been, I can't do a guy, and I'm never, bottom line. So I've always made bubble. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? And I
Yeah.
think I can produce a nice bubble, and I like it. That's good enough for me. I can put it in joints. I can produce, a high enough quality to where I could dab it if I wanted to, but I could leave it there. And so I appreciate the rosins and all that other stuff, but um, when it comes to why take it, from the, you know, waste, because you're kind of losing a little bit along the ways with the flour, the hash versus, straight flour. Is it a taste thing? And does it really matter in an edible? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, personally, I prefer smoking flower. Um, when I was first starting with my drinks, I was using flower rosin. I had got one of those nug smashers, and I started switching over to like BHO and diamonds, and I wasn't getting the same feedback, you know?
So just a
And
better quality or
a
effect.
better fuller high, a better euphoria, better head high. And I had ran out of flour to press to make rosin. So that's kind of when I transitioned into the distillate and diamonds. Um, but now getting back into the hash rosin, I'm gonna offer diamond infused drinks, at a cheaper rate. But personally, for me, it's hash rosin, and honestly, I bet you if I used the straight hash, the straight bubble, it would be a step better. I think it would.
Right on. Again, I appreciate hash in all forms. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like to work the product that much.
So you're saying you don't like the hash rosin part, and you're more a fan of the hash?
I regular bubble hash. I just think has it's more quality of a medicine for one. There's more just of the plant matter there. It's more full spectrum,
As
and
opposed to the rosin, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, and again, just speaking of it in a medical manner versus, recreation. I think that's at some point a thing because, as we gear it, we're extracting and we're extracting and we're extracting. We're extracting for, more and more just THC, as you kind of pointed out. Uh, I think that's more of a recreational beverage because you've singled out, more of the euphoria and you've lost some, some stuff along the way that would make it a more medicinal.
I wish straight bubble hash was more popular. 6 star bubble hash. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, a T0, consume it as you like.
Yeah, I'm a flower guy myself. There was a few years I was smoking dabs early on, and I maybe didn't understand the nail didn't need to be so hot. So really, these last few years, I'll take a dab once in a while, but all that heat for all those years, I can't do it so much. Um, you've probably heard of Frenchie Cannoli.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, rest in peace. I definitely came across him on YouTube when I started learning about hash, and I just thought the way he was curing the hash itself was just mind-blowing. And you know, even just listening to him talk on YouTube is a bit poetic with his accent, but you know, his passion and his consistency for hash and the temple balls, you know, and the commitment to storing it and curing it for 3, 4, 6 months, a year, you know, to get that consistency. Um, I respect it a lot, you know.
Yeah, I respect it, but I can't do it.
I haven't done it. I haven't done it. I think it's like the coolest science experiment, you know. But yeah, I haven't been down that road.
No, I smoke on that shit from the time it's ready to pretty much the time it's gone. I don't have, and that goes for like the curing of cannabis too. I enjoy it more on the fresher side than I do to the I have patients cured end of it.
I can 100% relate. Something about fresher weed, I feel like you can peel it apart like an onion almost, you know? Just the you know, curing, I understand its needs and what it does. Uh but yeah, you know, a couple weeks after it's dried, it's good for me.
I like the way you describe it as kind of peeling back an onion because I agree 100% there. There's so many flavor profiles available on the fresher side. You know, it can taste like one thing on the draw, a little bit of something on, you know, as it sits on your palate, and you can be something totally different. You know what I mean? You can pick up something on an exhale to where I believe a cured cannabis has more what I call like a gym bag effect, to where all those individual terps have now combined and have made a unique flavor. You know what I mean? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I prefer it on the onion end, where you can kind of pull it back layer by layer, and, you know, pull out the individual stuff.
Yeah, that's something you can't get as someone shopping at a dispensary. I don't think you can order fresher weed. Um, as a grower, being able to pluck it and smoke it when you want, you know, being able to enjoy it when it's more fresh, and then as it cures, enjoy it. You know, it was awesome. I'm hoping I can get back into it, you know, if the stars align.
Yeah, and I say this a lot too. I think that the cultivation side, you know, is every bit as therapeutical as the consumption side. You know, there's something special about it, being in your garden, tending to your plants, and you know, seeing it from start to
Spiritual, it's a
finish.
spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. A lot of joy comes out of those rooms, you know.
100%, 100%. So, you know, is I'd like to think that's when the aha moment is for a lot of people. You know, you can see as far as like it's truly a medicine. You know, you can, you know, provide it as a medicine and you can see the impact in others. But I think it's when you start to cultivate it and one-on-one basis, there you go, this is, you know, something special.
Yeah, seeing it from plant to finished medicine, and you know, having people enjoying the product and the flower and the drinks, and commenting that it's, you know, helping some of their ailments. Like, dude, that's a big plus for me, you know.
Yeah, it's a huge driver, I'd like to think. So do you think it'll always be edibles, or I heard you kind of mention a few other avenues as well. Do you think you will, or well, I guess that, it's branching out into the hash thing may just be part of the edibles at some point, or will that be a separate avenue?
And I'd like to, start that house back up. And man, I ideally single source. I'd be growing it, pressing it, and putting it into the drinks. Um, I don't know. Life's been kind of hard on me lately. The whole situation where I was working with this Andrew Guzzi guy for 3-4 years, doing the hydroponic thing, and really putting a lot into that relationship. And dude, going to the house one day and all the bins of weed are gone, all the trim's gone, all the fresh frozen's gone. Like that's fucked up. And it's part of the game. I've heard it plenty of times, people's harvest getting cut down early, partners going awry. But unfortunately, it's part of my story. And it's just crazy to think, what we had built in the 3 years. And I was telling him that we have this vending avenue. There's events like Big Cloud. There's events like Rainbow Farms. Raw Dreamer holds baller events where people will come and value what you have. And man, yeah, I don't know what I could have done differently. I trusted the guy a little too much. But yeah, it's hard to get over. I think that probably happened 4 months ago. And I have a few other friends who want to grow, and I trust them, but it takes some money and some know-how. And I respect to all the growers that are out there doing it right now. It's not easy. When I first started, I thought, oh, I'm gonna grow some weed. This will be easy. I'm gonna make lots of money. And I learned what bad harvests were like and what open blasting was, and it was a long, tough road, you know. Um, but I gotta say things are kind of looking up now. This whole drink situation, like having to come up with numbers for a few hundred drink orders, or someone asking me how much 1,000 drinks would cost. Like that's pretty cool. I think the drinks are special, and I'm gonna be coming out with a seasonal hash rosin Kool-Aid called Boo Burst. It's gonna taste like Starburst. I'll have that at Cloudoween. But yeah, I hope things come together with the grow. I've a couple people have even talked about wanting to do a partnership. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what happens this winter.
Yeah, winter can be a tough time, that's for sure. Um, so but I'm right there with you a little bit I like these events, Big Cloud and stuff like that. I'm firm believer in more of like a grassroots approach, you know what I mean? Getting out there, seeing responses first, hand, and in the back of your head, you're kind of, yes, this is working, or I can tweak it out a little bit, you know what I mean? Make changes, yay, nay. And moreover, getting to meet the people, I think people, once they meet the person and enjoy the product, that's when they get on board and they're like, yeah, I want, how can I get more of this product? And it becomes more of a steady avenue after the event, or something they look forward to at the event. You know what I
Of
mean?
course, the contacts, the networking, and yeah, the people are awesome. All these unique characters coming up buying lemonade, and they're awesome. And would I have met them otherwise? I don't think so. You know, and I look forward to going to more of them. And I think there's going to be one at Rainbow Farms, a Halloween one that's going to be sweet. Cloudoween, I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, putting in some hard work and seeing the results, you know, that's awesome.
Right on. So, are you gonna concentrate, I guess, on like say the more fresh side of edibles, or kind of venture at some point to a product that's more shippable? You know what I mean? So,
Oh,
because
definitely.
you know, it's hard. Is as great as the lemonade is, it's kind of, you know, hard to come up with a good packaging and shipping and all that good stuff for, you know what I mean?
Right. So I have a line of Kool-Aid that I just got some new packaging for. Um, they come in plastic bottles. They got some decent labels on there. 12 ounces, 100 milligrams. But yeah, these have a shelf life of 2 months. I've got 12 different flavors at the moment. I'll have 13 with the Boo Burst, the seasonal flavor. And at Cloudoween, I'm going to have uh, cold Kool-Aids that, you know, are shippable. And then I'm going to have Kool-Aid with the dry ingredients so that you'll be able to just fill it up with water when you want. So yeah, a big thing for me is I wanted to do, you know, fresh items like the lemonade, like the cinnamon sugar donuts I'm gonna do, like the apple, the cider, the infused cider. But I also have like the artificial side, like the Kool-Aids. So like not real fresh fruit or anything, but something that's gonna be delicious and it's gonna last.
Which are your favorites, or is that even a fair question?
Oh, so lately, there's this sour blue raspberry, which I think I added to the lineup like a month ago, and it's like, you know, blue raspberry is like a top flavor, but the sour blue raspberry just takes it to the another level. Like I'm gonna have to bring 2-3 times as many to Cloudoween because it's really popular.
So,
And
how does the winter season look for you? Is there's some more events on tap for this? I mean, as far as that helps us as the Canada community as well, because I know everybody looking for something to do in the winter.
right, yeah, I've been talking about it with my friend recently. I don't honestly know because this is my first year into the vending scene, into like the public scene of you know, going to events and stuff. So um I know there's gonna be one in November, but after that, I'm not 100% sure. I'd be surprised if there were none because there's a lot of business that goes on at these events. I understand winter is a whole beast in itself with the snow and the cold. Um, I could see probably a few people holding something inside, but I'm probably going to reach out to a few of the hosts that I've been at and ask them, you know, if they have any plans. I think maybe not an every weekend thing, but hey, if we could throw one big winter event at least, maybe we could try that out.
Yeah, I know. In Michigan, usually in the springtime, I'm already going, you know, stir crazy for the cannabis event. So I'd like to see us trying to figure out something to where we could have our fix throughout the winter months for sure.
There's so many good hosts and good events I've been to, and the people working there who are in charge, they're awesome people and they're capable people. Um, so yeah, I think it's possible.
So
Definitely
is
got to find the right spot, but
so if they hit you up, say on Instagram and they're Michigan or close local, and they're interested in, having their own like small gathering and want to buy, some donuts and cider, say, is that a thing? Can they get a hold of you and
yeah, I'm really open to serving anybody within reason. Um, I shipped off 30 drinks 2 or 3 weeks ago that were sugar free. I have a sugar free recipe, so it's like 75% less sugar. So it brings drinks from like 200 calories down to like 50 calories. And we linked up on Instagram, we chatted, and then we met up, and boom, they got their drinks. Um, this week, I'm going to be going to the donut shop and getting an order of the infused donuts. And I'm going to be trying to pass them out and see if I can send out some samples or if anybody's interested.
I think it's a good thing. I like the idea of it. Another take on the morning wake and bake coffee and donut or midday cider and donut. I think it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I think it'll be popular. Have you been to any apple cider farms or any donut shops recently?
No, no. In fact, I just kind of realized as I was driving around today that it was that season. I was heading down. I live in the middle of friggin' nowhere, and I seen like a big old, gathering of cars, and I'm like, oh, that's odd. You know what I mean? And I look, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's that season. Yeah, I miss it. To be honest with you, I kind of hope at some point cannabis becomes something similar to that. You know what I mean? To where you could walk through the garden as you would an orchard, and you know see the product and stuff like that, and how it's put through the process. I think it'd be cool.
I think
And
maybe in time,
at the end of
that
the
would be really sweet.
wagon ride or whatever, just like they do at the cider mills, you end up at the shop there where you can, choose your different ciders and donuts and shit like that. You just at that point you get your you choose the cannabis you just looked at, maybe buy some edibles made from, the same shit, same shit. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I don't know if I have too much more to talk about. I'm kind of a man of a few words, you know.
I
Um,
can respect that. Well,
yeah, really. The market doing its thing, and this Andrew Guzzi guy, getting one over on me, really was like a kind of pivot into putting a lot of energy into the edible drinks and the vending. You know, I felt like it was an idea I had, and those things that were negative, it just kind of gave me a little motivation to go a little harder, you know, and
right.
it brought me to a cool place. These events, these people, talking with you, and
Well, I
yeah,
hope
I
I very much hope that things steamroll in the right direction and pick up for you, and you're able to, continue on the cannabis dream as a lot of us, hoped hope we can do. It is a lot of tuck and roll in the process. People think, growing it is too easy, and it's
oh
not.
man,
But it's
far,
quite the
far from
opposite
it.
of the stereotype. Stoners do nothing, man. Stoners are
You got to be on it. You got to be awake and alert and making sure your machines are functioning properly, numbers are lining up. Yeah, you need a small team.
Well, I think you've got a good start, 100%. I don't know if you know how the show things, how things work on the channel, but I'll give you a couple minutes to explain how things work around here. Basically, I try to get as many people in the cannabis community to tell their story like you have this evening. And once you've come on and told me your story, your journey, then you've earned the right to come hang out whenever the fuck you want to in a what I call Weed Nerd World. So Weed Nerd Worlds are Monday nights guaranteed, a little later on the later side, 2 a.m. our time. So if you want to come hang out anytime on Monday nights, hit that link, come hang out. Don't need a reason, don't need an invite. It's strictly as I want to come and go type thing now. So,
Cool.
and they're just not Monday nights. The other way you normally see a Weed Nerd World, if everything's running right, is as I told you earlier, the show's time slot is open from 11:30 to 4:20. So look, most nights, if the interview goes short or we don't go the distance, then I take a break real quick and then I fire up the Weed Nerd World and and that's like I said, only open to past guests like yourself, and as at
Okay.
this point could be up to possibility of 700 people.
Wow.
So
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was watching some of your previous interviews and stories. Cool.
right
Hell
on.
yeah.
So hopefully you do take me up on the offer. I mean, and it's even a simple thing too. Is it happens to line up and there's an event coming up for you, and you just want to reach out to some weed nerds and tell them, hey, I'm going to be here this weekend. If you want to come hang out,
Yeah, that's a good point. So
yeah,
Mondays at 2. Mondays at 2 is when it starts, right?
yep. Every Monday at 2, guaranteed. The other ones are just random. It depends on the guest. But anytime that you see Weed Nerd World in the channel or in the title, you're more than welcome to join us. So
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. I'll check it
please,
out.
please keep that in mind. The final thing I'd like to get from you before we go is a silly thing that I call the sound bite. At some point, I will use the sound bite for a commercial for your episode. Basically, what I'm looking for in uh this is just like the body, the rough one part of it is, hey, this is Eagle and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 716. You can say whatever you want before, after, as long as that's somewhere in there. I'm grateful and I am ready. Let me see
Okay.
here.
So what am I saying again?
My version is hey, this is Eagle and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 716, and the rest is up to you.
Okay.
Here we go. You're the one doing the sound bite.
Okay. My bad. This is Detroit Crud Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 716. Come get some lemonade, apple cider, cinnamon donuts. Check me out.
There you go. Thank you, my friend. It's been a pleasure
Oh,
meeting you.
okay.
And
Appreciate it.
thank you one more time for coming and hang out, man. Time is the most valuable thing we have, and you gave me a nice little chunk of yours. So thank you, sir.
I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you at the next event.
Right on, for sure. For the rest
All
of you
right.
guys, thank you for joining us. If you're not going to come hang out in the Weed Nerd World, remember to do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. And with that, we are.